Meet Gaz, a camping YouTuber from the channel Grizzly Gaz, a UK-based YouTube channel who regularly heads deep into the wilderness with his French bulldog, Fendi. His channel is full of remote adventures, covering everything from rugged weather and dense forests to unexpected run-ins with wildlife. But during a trip through the woods of the UK in April of 2023, Gaz came across something that had nothing to do with animals. The evening started out like any other. He filmed himself setting up camp, getting the tent pitched, and splitting wood for the night. As the light faded through the trees, he got the fire going and started cooking a steak dinner while Fendi settled in beside him. Everything was calm. Then, out of the dark, a man appeared, dressed in jeans and a coat, asking Gaz for food and something to drink.
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye, pot boiling for some mash, and I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. I shit my pants. This is Martin anyway. I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak.
Just some random creep wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
I don't think I was.
On the surface, the encounter seemed relatively harmless, but something about the man's behavior put Gaz on edge from the start. His words ran together, his thoughts jumped around without landing anywhere, and he was unsteady on his feet, clearly not fully in control of himself. As the video continues, Gaz describes how the two of them sat by the fire, while the man, Martin, opened up in fragments. He was homeless. Drugs had taken a serious toll on his life. He had been moving through the woods on his own. Then Gaz gets to what he described as the strangest part of the whole encounter.
Turned round to cut some firewood up. So I cut a couple of logs up. And when I turned back round, he'd gone. So scanned about and he was just walking off. And I just found that really fucking strange.
No thank you, no goodbye, no sound of footsteps walking away. Martin was simply gone. No trace of him leaving at all. The meeting had ended without any direct confrontation, but Gaz couldn't shake it. He kept turning over the same question. Had Martin actually left? Or was he still out there somewhere in the dark, possibly planning to come back later, and possibly not alone? Gaz was by himself in those woods with a full setup of expensive gear and camera equipment. That thought was enough. He packed everything up and cut the trip short. Before heading out, he mounted a trail camera at the site to see whether Martin came back.
I'm on my way back to the camp to collect my trail camera and see if that random smackhead came back during the night.
The next morning, the most disturbing part wasn't anything the camera had recorded. It was the fact that the camera itself was gone.
Trail camera's gone. That's where it was, on this tree. So my gut instincts were right, weren't they, to leave.
Gaz had assumed the worst of the night was behind him the moment Martin disappeared into the dark. The missing trail camera suggested otherwise. Hudoo Outdoors is a YouTube channel run by a couple with a shared passion for camping, hiking, hunting, fishing, and getting out into the wild. In January 2025, they took on something new, bushcraft camping, setting out to build a shelter from scratch and spend the night in it, marking a fresh direction for their adventures.
Build a bushcraft shelter and camp in it. Here's my wife, Soraya. Okay, so there was a big fire that came through here not too long ago. There's all these dead trees. You can see the scarring on the side. So we got plenty of firewood. We're gonna spend the next while gathering as many trees as we possibly can.
It started out as a straightforward day in the wilderness. They worked on the shelter, got things ready for a long night ahead, and settled in. Then the sun went down, and the mood changed.
It was about this time that we heard the first yell. We heard two guys way off in the distance yelling. I thought they might have been at my car. We were only a couple 100 yards away from it, and it came from that direction. I walked over to my car, but no one was there. But I did see the lights of a truck off in the distance, and it was parked, and it was running, with only the cab lights on. I didn't film this part because I didn't think much of it, and it wasn't a very big deal. We have a guy right there that parked his truck. He keeps shining his brights at us. And he has not left us alone ever since we got here. It's like almost 9 o'clock at night. Now he's got his lights completely off.
Really close to it though.
Okay, so sorry it's kind of dark, but he sat right there for like 5 minutes. He came like feet away from my car. Like right here. And then I shone a light at him and he took off.
We're in the middle of nowhere. Like super far from town.
Alright, so I was just following his tracks a little bit. He chucked this out the window. I don't know what this guy's deal is, but I might follow him out and make sure he leaves.
Well, he kept shouting like stuff at us too. I don't even know what. We couldn't really understand.
Voices drifted in from somewhere in the distance, unclear, unexplained. A truck sat out in the darkness, and the way it sat there didn't feel right. Movement around the campsite added to the tension, and what had started as a relaxed trip began to feel like something they needed to stay on top of.
So this guy's coming towards us now. So we're gonna get in the Jeep.
Yeah, they turned back around. They're coming this way. They're coming up around us, like on the other side.
So Soraya's hearing these guys sneaking up on us now with their lights off. Like, this is not normal. So we're gonna get out of here. We're not gonna be filming as much. We're just gonna be safe and get out of here. But then we heard them turn around and get back in their truck.
Coming back and forth, turning their lights off.
I've spent hundreds of nights outside, and like I'm totally fine camping next to people. Heck, like I lived in a van and was like constantly around people, constantly in campsites and stuff. When people act like that, it's best to just leave. It's just not worth it.
Don't know what they're up to. We'll get their rest tomorrow. That way we can get out of here fast.
Moments later, this is what happened.
Okay, I don't know if you can see, but they're driving right over to us again. Luckily, Brighton has a pistol. We're packing our stuff out, and now they're watching us. They can tell us that we're here because our lights are on. Here's the Jeep. Oh, they're coming towards us, Brighton.
What?
They're coming towards us.
You guys need help or something?
No, we were just wondering what the light was.
Yeah, we just lost.
Yeah, we're just camping.
Oh, okay.
The vehicle began moving around the perimeter of the campsite in a way that raised real concern. Nothing happened, but that didn't make the situation feel any less wrong. They made the sensible call to pack up and get out. When someone keeps circling your camp without any clear reason, there's no way to know what they're actually after, and that uncertainty alone is reason enough to leave. On October 20th, 2025, Eleanor from Eleanor Grace Adventures set out alone across Dartmoor, England. Her channel is built around calm solo hiking and wild camping, quiet trips through open countryside. But this one came with a complication she couldn't fully outrun. Eleanor was still recovering from a virus. Despite that, she pressed ahead with a no-tent overnight on open moorland, aware that her body hadn't quite caught up with what she was asking of it.
I've just had to make a diversion, quite a big one around Gutter Tor. All of a sudden I started hearing shots firing and lots of men yelling at each other, very close to where I was. Obviously Dartmoor is a military training area, but they tell you in advance online where and what times of day they're going to be firing, and it isn't here. I was outside of their boundary line because there's other people here as well, but I was like hiding behind the rocks on the Tor, just like, please don't shoot me by accident. I'm going to move the car just down the road to like more
continue for 1.5 miles,
more enclosed type of car park. Okay, I have no idea where I'm going right now. This is taking it out of me already. I was here a couple of days ago and I tried to climb Sheep's Tor. I failed miserably. I didn't even get like a quarter of the way up. And I've never ever been up to Sheep's Tor before. It's a very steep hike up there. I'm gonna give it another go because the views up there are meant to be spectacular. We're going all the way up there. I'm gonna see if I can get up there and get set up. This is where I gave up last time. Okay, I did that bit, but I need a break for a sec. It's so tight on my chest right now. Come on, we can do this. We did it. I don't think there's anyone else camping here tonight. We might have the place to ourselves.
The quiet start didn't last. Nearby gunfire and shouting broke through without warning, forcing Eleanor to stop, take stock, and redirect. Her breathing was already working harder than usual from the walk. As she climbed toward Sheep's Tor, a tightness in her chest moved from something she could push through to something she couldn't ignore. Each uphill step came with shallower breath, and what would normally be a familiar ascent became slow, deliberate, and uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is my little camp for the night. This is a obviously limited gear challenge. The main reason why it is a limited gear one, I just really did not want to drag my tent up here as well. So I got this new camping mat. Look how long it is. It comes with one of those foot pumps. I've moved under here because, I mean, I'm slightly under a rock here and covered. It's like a little nook. It's getting quite dark now and I can hear owls everywhere. This thing is incredible, like I'm not kidding. And I'm chilly, but I'm not like freezing. If it gets really bad, okay, then obviously I'm going to go and sleep in the car. Like I'm not going to give myself hypothermia. Right, so it's just after 9. I think I'm going to try and get some sleep. Probably the coldest point's going to be about just after midnight, I think. Or at least that's what it says online. I'm going to put my ASMR on and I'm going to try and fall asleep and see how I get on. I'm not too cold, you know. Good morning. So I did the right thing last night. I think I did the right thing. It started to get quite windy, quite chilly. I couldn't sleep. Made a hot water bottle. Jesus. Oh, my legs. My legs. Where is it? It's raining a little bit. And it was like the cold, icy drizzle rain. But my chest was bad. My body was aching like crazy at this point. I was like, look, I can sit here all night and get no sleep. Or I can go back to my car and attempt sleep. Okay, this way. And I got under this very warm, thick swimming jacket. So it's like a blanket, basically.
At camp, Eleanor settled under a rock overhang with nothing but an emergency blanket. Lying still made the chest pain more pronounced. Cold air and wind pressing in from outside didn't help. By early morning, nothing had eased. The combination of cold, fatigue, and restricted breathing made the decision for her. She packed up, made her way down carefully by headlamp, and went to rest in her car. Viewers watching picked up on the strain long before she made the call to leave. Less focused on the gear, more tuned in to the sound of her breathing. When the body is that clear about its limits, the question of how hard to push back against them doesn't have an easy answer. The video comes from the YouTube channel Sort of Interesting, a solo adventure channel based in the United Kingdom, known for calm, observational exploration. The channel covers endurance challenges, wild camping, and testing personal limits, often leaning into discomfort and tension without ever reaching for drama. This recording was made on January 9th, 2026, in a snow-covered woodland somewhere in the UK.
Welcome to my first ever sub-0 degree camping trip, and also my first real cold temperature test of my new winter sleeping bag. Because of that, I didn't want to drift too far away from civilization, so I've come down to a secret little area that I've camped out at before, and as I was on my way there, I wanted to do a few exciting wintry snowy shots for you so that you could see the lovely scenery lit up in the darkness. And then it started to snow a little bit more heavily, and I thought, if I don't get my camp set up, I'm potentially going to get absolutely covered in snow, soaking wet, and then be cursing myself from a very damp bivvy bag. So I came out to this little hidden spot and just checked the ground conditions, and then thought, right, let's get stuck in here. So I have fetched my trekking poles, and I've got a small tarp and pegs and all sorts here as well, so I could build a small shelter if it was a little bit windy and I wanted to take that wind chill off. And the trouble I've got here is the tree cover is so spindly that once daylight hits, or if somebody comes past in the small hours with a torch, they're going to see a tarp and that unnatural tall square shape standing out a mile away in here. So without creating a tarp shelter, we are going to have a really low profile camp setup. So we've got a basic poncho tarp hybrid that I'm using as a ground sheet, and an Elpkit Elan hooped bivvy. I'm so glad I bought that as my first bivvy bag last year. It's just so handy and so convenient. Like I say, super low profile, but that hooped section just makes it feel that little bit more open and substantial than my really basic bivvy bag. So I'm going to use two relatively low end sleeping mattresses to try and get a bit of distance between me and the very cold ground, which was certainly not ideal, and you'll see more on that in just a moment.
He sets out on his first ever sub-0 bivvy camp with one goal in mind: putting a new winter sleeping bag through its paces in real conditions. To keep the risk manageable, he picks a wooded area close to civilization, somewhere he has camped before. What he doesn't expect is how quickly that familiar place will start to feel anything but. The snowfall comes in heavier than forecast, forcing him to drop any plans for scenic filming and shift his focus entirely to getting set up before the cold and wet take hold. With sparse tree cover and the possibility of being spotted, he decides against rigging a tarp. Instead, he goes as low profile as possible, a simple bivvy laid directly on the ground. Snow keeps falling, visibility tightens, and the temperature continues to drop. Then, as daylight starts to go, the first unsettling moment of the night arrives.
This was the moment the first drama of the night happened. Somebody over there, there's somebody over there. What is going on here? There has been somebody walking around out there. Unfortunately, I've waited and waited, and you can see the snow started to collect and actually gather on the bivvy and tarp now. I can't do this in total darkness, so might as well just put the light on and go for it. I don't know if anyone's out there or not. If I've been spotted, I've been spotted. I'll keep my ear out. Obviously, I'm going to hear a lot of noise if somebody approaches the camp tonight.
While laying out his sleeping mats, he suddenly freezes. Something is moving in the woods nearby. He can't tell whether it's an animal or a person, so he goes completely still and listens. Snow piles up on his bivvy and gear as he waits, unable to safely carry on with the setup.
This was when the second drama happened, when I knew that I'd seen a light.
I've got absolute footprints leading right towards me. I mean, it's continued snowing, but there, yeah. There, you saw that absolute clear. Oh, I hope that's on the camera. Oh, I'm so annoyed. Every now and then they just catch directly towards me.
Luckily, the lights didn't get that close to me.
When the snowfall finally eases off, he notices something that stops him cold. Fresh footprints in the snow, leading directly toward his camp. Around the same time, lights appear in the distance, flickering on and off and pointing his way, before eventually drifting elsewhere. He realizes his own tracks are clearly visible, so he dims his light and holds position for long stretches, getting colder by the minute while he waits for the lights to disappear.
It's currently -2 degrees right now here, And to be honest, after how long it took the gas stove to not quite get the water to boil for my last wintry hot... What was that? It's not very far away, and that I do not like. Foxes. Foxes. Oh, I hope that's foxes. Listen. That has given me goosebumps even more than the -2 degrees we're facing.
In the early hours of the morning, while lying awake inside his bivvy, he is jolted by a sudden burst of screaming close by. The sound is sharp enough to put him on full alert. After sitting with it for a moment, he concludes it's foxes. But even with that explanation, the experience rattles him, and any real sense of calm is gone for the rest of the night. No direct encounter happens, but this is not a comfortable night by any measure. Unexplained movement in the trees, footprints heading straight for his position, distant lights that won't quite settle, and a jarring burst of screaming in the dark, all of it layered on top of bitter cold and real isolation. It keeps him on edge from dusk to dawn. Come morning, he acknowledges that picking a spot close to civilization was the right call for a first sub-zero attempt. He breaks down frozen equipment and walks out of the woodland, turning over one thought: how fast a quiet winter camp can start to feel wrong, not because of anything you can point to directly, but because of everything that never gets explained. Out there in the cold and the dark, with snow coming down around you, even something as simple as a footprint or a light in the distance can completely change how a place feels. If you found yourself in that situation, would you stay and wait it out, or would you trust your gut and go while you still had the chance? Meet Bear, the creator behind the channel Exploring with Bear. He's known for heading out into the wilderness alone and documenting both the beauty and the strangeness of what he finds out there. His trips tend to carry a sense of quiet calm. But on this particular night, things went in a direction he never could have prepared for. On February 7th, 2024, Bear set out on a solo camping trip deep in the woods. Just him, his gear, and the silence of the forest. He was expecting a calm night. What he got was something else entirely.
So, this is what we're going to be working with tonight. That's it. Bare bones, baby. Bare bones. I do have that reflector under there. So in part one, we got our campsite all together. We got our fire going. We got our tent pitched. It is becoming much cooler now. Now, right now, it's currently about 40 degrees out. You know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I think it's going to be like 26, 27 or something like that. Much better than the 9 degrees it was the last time we was camping with a real feel of -10. That was freezing.
He got the camp set up, the fire going, and eventually made his way into the tent, ready to wind down and enjoy the quiet. For a while, it held. Everything felt still, almost peaceful. Then it didn't. One by one, things started breaking through the silence.
All right, so I'm thinking maybe, now that we got these fired up, we check out the offering tree, maybe the lake. So, my heart just stopped.
A sound cut through the night, sharp, out of place. Bear tried to reason with it. A branch coming down, maybe an animal moving through. He stepped outside to check, but standing out there in the dark, the feeling of being watched pressed in on him, and whatever was out there didn't feel far away.
There we go. That's more better. That's more better. Something seemed off. What the heck was that? That sucker came flying in. That just fall from up there? That's what I was telling you guys about the widowmakers when you're pitching your tent. Like that was I don't know what that was, but imagine if that was a monster limb now.
Then a branch snapped, sudden and hard, like it had been thrown rather than fallen. He let it go, kept walking, and made his way back to camp. But the night had already changed. It didn't feel the same as it had an hour before.
Alright guys, so it's a little later now. Almost fell asleep actually. I was watching a video and caught myself falling asleep. So I did end up breaking out the old camping blanket because it is much colder out. So I did end up putting one of the hand warmers in my pocket, and I have one tucked right up in here. Oh, you can see it. Yeah, right there. So alright guys, I think I'm going to try to get a little bit of sleep. And if I wake back up, I'll check back in. If I don't wake back up, I'll see you in the morning.
Exhaustion eventually won out, and he fell asleep, hoping the rest of the night would stay quiet. It didn't.
I just heard I don't know if I was even all the way asleep or what, but there was a huge crash outside. Do you hear that? I'm turning my light down. There's more than one. More than one. Crap, wrong way. Something is standing right outside of the tent. It walked right up to the tent. Do you hear it? There it is again. What the heck is that? Oh. It's throwing stuff at the tent. I'm armed. No. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have a freaking heart attack. Man, whatever that is, I don't know what. I almost feel like it could be people messing with me. I just heard it breathing. Oh!
Something dragged him out of sleep, a presence circling the tent, close, deliberate. Objects hit the fabric from outside, thrown with clear intention. His heart was going fast, and a cold feeling moved through him. He killed the flashlight, hoping that would make it stop. It didn't stop. The sounds got louder, a rhythm to them that made it unmistakably clear he was not alone out there.
I can hear it. I think it's leaving. So it's been about 5 minutes and I haven't heard anything. But my heart's still about to beat out of my chest, and I'm gonna take this opportunity and leave right now before whatever that was. Sounded like there was 2 of them. There's people, creatures, whatever that was. I am leaving before they come back. I do not feel safe. I'm sorry guys, I'm not. Yeah, right now I hear nothing. I'm getting out of here.
When the sounds finally went quiet and stayed that way, he took his chance and got out, leaving the gear where it was. The next 7 days were spent in a state of dread, waiting. When he finally went back to the campsite, what he found made everything worse.
Someone destroyed the frickin' tent. I wonder if they thought I was laying in there when they threw that block on it. Man, that would have messed me up.
The camp had been destroyed. A cinder block had been thrown directly into the tent, not the act of someone trying to frighten him, but of someone who wanted to cause real harm. Bear got out of that night without being hurt, but whoever he had encountered out there in those woods was not operating with any kind of rational intent, and that much was obvious. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like helps support the channel. Subscribe if you'd like to see more documented encounters in future uploads.